All right, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. Jeff here. Brad, what up, dude?
I'm doing good, man. Another week of NFL down, another crazy week. 7 more weeks to go. I'm loving it. Nothing like the
Yeah,
NFL.
yeah, I'm with you. Man, just the NFL right now is at an all-time high. It's just like we talk about this every single week, and teams are just beating up on each other. Like the best team in the league, arguably, probably has 2 losses, depending on who you ask. But there's several good teams with 3 and 4 losses at this point, and probably will lose more. Um, yeah, lots to look at, lots of teams. Oh, we got to be honest. I know last week you kind of said you were just kind of like throwing your top 10 together. You weren't sure. You weren't really. Today I have my top 10 in front of me, and legitimately every single team on here has an argument for number 1 and number 10. Like it's just like it's close, dude. This is a close league, and a lot of teams have flaws. We've talked about this, but um, I'll go ahead and start if you don't have anything.
How about it?
All right. Number 10, the Bills. 6-4 on the year. They are 3-0 in their division. They got a couple of games coming up against New England real soon. Um, they've got 4 losses, but they still have a plus 119 point differential. That's good for second in the league. So the teams they have won, they've blown out. They're so one-dimensional. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I actually posted about this the other day too. Zach Moss is so ineffective, and so many people have started him in fantasy against me. I don't understand it. The Bills don't run the ball. That's why they're at 10. 9, and this is the weirdest one for me because this team does not remotely deserve to be at 9. But they have lost a couple of games in a row. They did lose Robert Woods. They added Odell. We don't know what that's going to do to them. I have the Rams at 9, at 7-3. They're 1-2 in their division and only a plus 44 point differential. I kind of came down to earth on the Rams and dropped them down on the list, trying to put people where I felt they deserved to be. Number 8, coming off a win this past week without Lamar Jackson, it's the Baltimore Ravens at 7-3. Weirdly enough about the Ravens, and I don't. This might be the only team that's done this. They've only played one divisional game and they lost it. Tons of divisional games coming up. They have every opportunity to either close the AFC North or completely blow it open. And they're only in 7 wins. They're only a plus 17 point differential. So uncharacteristic of them. Go ahead.
Just to butt in for just 1 second. The Ravens, their next 3 games are Browns, Steelers, Browns.
There it is.
Their next 3 games.
Yeah. I just thought that when I was looking this over, I'm like, they've legitimately played one divisional opponent. It was the Bengals, I remember.
At least
I'm
Bengals, pretty sure.
The Bengals whooped on them. It makes sense. They probably have divisional games majority of the rest of their season, if I had to guess. They got 5 more to play.
I know the Steelers end with the Ravens. Yeah, Sunday, November 28th, home against the Browns. December 5th at the Steelers. December 12th at the Browns. And
Yeah.
oh wow, then their last 4: Packers, Bengals, Rams, Steelers.
So their only 2 other games they're going to play are the Packers and Rams. Brutal.
Correct. Yeah,
so
they got
every game is a gauntlet for them. That says a lot about them. We'll find out a lot going forward. Number 7, I have this team way too low. I couldn't find them. I couldn't move them up. I have them too low. It is what it is. It's the Cowboys, 7-3. I'm admitting they're too low. Please don't beat me up over this. 2-0 in their division, plus 79 point differential. They're really beat up right now. I think that's probably why I have them this low. They're really beat up. They got to get better, but they're super dangerous and healthy. Probably the best team in football when they're healthy. Number 6, Tennessee Titans. Yes, I dropped them pretty low. Tennessee's 8-3 on the year. They're 7-0 versus playoff teams. Coming off a pretty bad loss to the Texans. Weirdly enough, they have lost to the Texans and the Jets. So, say what you want. Plus 37 point differential isn't very good either. But what was that, 6? So coming in at number 5, Kansas City. Kansas City 7-4 on the year. They've won 4 in a row, plus 31. There's really nothing to brag about with this team except the fact that they've won 4 in a row. They seem to be trending up. We'll probably talk about this next week on the live show. You were more right than wrong about Kansas City than I was, but I don't think you were so far right that I was wrong, if that makes any sense. I wasn't blown away by their performance. I thought it was a lot about what the Cowboys completely 9 points by the Cowboys. I don't think that was all defense. Story for another day. Coming in at number 4, Packers. I moved the Packers up in a loss. I know it's weird. They're just as beat up as the Cowboys, it seems like. And they've had a lot of turmoil. Rodgers with COVID, Adams getting COVID or / hurt. So much has been wrong with this team. They're missing tons of pieces, but they're 8-3, 4-0 at home, plus 33-point differential. I called the Vikings to beat them. I thought it was a weird matchup for them. I haven't lost too much hope. I think they'll be just fine. Coming in at number 3, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they've continuously been my NFC pick, and this is what they are. They're a 7-3 team, 5-0 at home, plus 87-point differential, which is good for 4th in the league. They're going to throw it a lot, and if they don't turn it over, they seem unbeatable. So their defense is obviously not perfect in the back end, but it's good enough, and there's not too many scary defenses that are out there right now. With that said, I got Tampa at 3. Number 2, I'm not even flexing here. I think the boys are number 2. New England, 7-4. 5-0 on the road. 5-1 versus the AFC. Winners of 5 in a row. Plus 123-point differential. Good for best in the league. And I keep hearing everybody say this team can't beat you deep. They are number 2 in big plays this year. Number 2 in the league. So they actually do have big playability. They do have a variation of ways they can beat you, whether it's special teams, whether it's defense, whether it's running the ball. I think they're going to beat Tennessee this coming week too. So I think New England is on the up and up, and they are a threat, and nobody's talking about them as a threat. They're just saying basically, oh, well, Bill Belichick's coaching them well. No, this team is a legit threat. They can beat anybody, and I was actually super impressed with their win against the Falcons, as well as their win against the Panthers, as well as their win against the Browns. And when they take care of Tennessee, I'll be impressed too. Number 1, and it's almost number 1 by a wide margin. It's the Arizona Cardinals, who are at 9-2. This team has accolades through the roof. 9-2 on the year, 6-0 on the road, 4-0 in division, 108-point differential, good for 3rd in the league. They are 2-1 with Colt McCoy, who has not been relevant since I was in high school. Say what you want there. They're actually also 3-1 in games started by Colt McCoy or without a head coach. I mean, they're the epitome of what a great Super Bowl caliber team is. They can win when they're missing pieces, whether it's their head coach, their star quarterback. They're arguably the best wide receiver in the league, top 3 for sure. I got Arizona.
Yeah, I like your list, except this is definitely probably the most different that we've had our lists all year.
Like I told you I didn't love it. It's all over the place.
But like you said, there's a lot of teams that have a case. Either I missed something or I can't believe you left the Colts off your list. That was
They're
crazy.
not there. They're not there.
Okay. Well, we drastically differ in a lot of opinions.
Notice I put Buffalo on instead of the Colts.
Yeah, I have 7 teams that trended up on my list and 3 teams that have dropped spots on my list. So I guess let's start
before you go, because you make a great point. You're asking me about the Colts. I told you every team on here could be 1 or they could be 10. Okay. I also firmly believe that all 10 of these, the only exception would be Tennessee, and that's only if they don't get Derrick Henry back. If they get Derrick Henry back, I would go with this statement. All 10 of these teams, I would feel comfortable saying can win the Super Bowl. I'm not there on the Colts. Okay. Now, I'll let you go. That's all.
All right. So, again, my rankings, preferably for me, I tend to rank my teams on the momentum they have at the moment, how things are going, not necessarily where I believe they would rank at the end of the year. With that being said, at number 10, I thought the Bengals and Ravens both had a case possibly for number 10, even the Bills hanging on to the list. But I gave it to one of the 2 teams that I'm high on. I gave it to the Vikings. I gave them the 10 spot after a win against the Packers. The reason they're only 10 with a win against the Packers I'll get to that when I get to the Packers. But with the Vikings, they only have 6 turnovers the entire year. They've never lost by more than one possession. So they're in every game. They just caught the wrong end of the coin flip. And they're number one in the sack differential. So it's like they're just limited a little bit at quarterback. You'd like Kirk Cousins to play better at times. But I think this team could find a groove, and they have games against the Lions and Bears remaining. I think this is a team that trends up, could make the playoffs. Number 9, this is a team that, okay, Vikings obviously moved up from off the list on it. Rams go from 10 to 9 in my spot. By default, some teams go down. The Rams are going to go up 1 on their bye week. Again, they lost their last 2 games against teams with winning records. So, no. The 49ers was one of them. They lost their last 2 games. They lose Robert Woods. But and they only have 1 win against a winning team, and it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the week before Brady played the Patriots. So I have to assume that had something to do with it. Maybe not. But the Rams are number 1 in yards per play. Stafford leads the league with 4 games of 300 yards and 3 touchdowns or more. Number 8, big drop to a team I don't believe in, was waiting for an opportunity to. The Titans fall from 1 to 8 for me. I think they've been incredibly lucky to win some of the games they have, and losses to the Jets and the Texans are kind of embarrassing. And since they've lost Derrick Henry, they average under 300 yards of total offense a game. Tannehill's sack numbers are getting increased. This team kind of looks lost. They also lose Julio Jones. A.J. Brown now leaves with a finger. This team, they started off really well, but they're really starting to deteriorate, and I don't believe in that defense as a defense that can carry this team. I have them at number 8. Still, if you're the 8th best team in the league, you got a chance to beat anyone. So keep that in mind on this list. There's still 22 teams left off of it. Number 7, a team that falls again, the Dallas Cowboys. They've lost 2 of their last 3. They got it right against the terrible Falcons. I don't believe in them at all. They just got to get it right, though. But the reason why I'm not killing them too bad, still at number 7, because CeeDee Lamb leaves, Amari Cooper, left tackle's out, 2 top pass rushers are out. A lot of injury problems going on with the Cowboys. But right now, losing 2 of their last 3, they're really opening the door for the Philadelphia Eagles to make a late run at possibly closing up the division. I would imagine the Cowboys still have some tough games left. Number 6, a team that moves up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They get one of their 2 safety blankets back. Gronk goes for, I think, a little over 70 yards. His offense turns it around, and they were a miscommunication interception away from 30-3 against the Giants. And I know the Giants aren't great, but what are you supposed to do against teams that aren't great? You're supposed to kill them. And that's what Tampa Bay did. I believe this is going to get the ball rolling. They're getting a little bit healthy. They have a tremendous offensive line. Brady's been sacked the least in the league. Tampa's going to be there in the end. We all know they're going to be there in the playoffs, and they're going to probably win their division. Dropping from 2 to 5 is the Packers. Now, I just have to keep it in the same consistency here. When you lose, you typically fall on my list. I like to track momentum a lot. But, however, the Packers with 3 losses, they've given the Cardinals their only loss. And
Cardinals lost to the Panthers, too.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry, their first loss. But Aaron Rodgers misses a game that they lost. They lost the first game, but they just played the Vikings, who I think are a good team, better than their record, and dropped 31. And they had no Alan Lazard, no Robert Tonyan, no Aaron Jones, no Rashawn Gary, no Zadarius Smith, no Alexander, David Bakhtiari. They lost another tackle during the game. Aaron Rodgers is playing on a foot injury, and they still put up 31 points. I just think this defense is playing well, and they're missing arguably their 3 best defenders. This team, I believe, is going to have a case for the 1 seed. They do hold the tiebreaker over the Cardinals, so that'll be important. But the Packers, they're a great team. They deserve to be top 5. I couldn't drop them out of the top 5. Number 4, the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were injured a little bit, but the Chiefs were able to get it done. Their defense has turned it around the last month. Their offense isn't turning the ball over. The The Cowboys have played way better defense than anyone could have imagined throughout the year. Now they were out their pass rushers, but they were still able to play really good defense on the Chiefs. And like you said, they didn't blow the brakes off the Cowboys. But I would say if the Cowboys got some of those guys back to full health, it's a pretty even game. And I think both these teams will be there in the end. But the Chiefs on a 4-game win streak are going to be number 4. The team we disagree with the most, I have the Colts at 3. They've won 5 of their last 6, 6 of their last 8. In those 8 games, Carson Wentz has 15 touchdowns and a 102 passer rating, and he's making great plays. We talked new quarterback. Beginning of the schedule is ridiculously hard. They came out of the gate stumbling and bumbling. Injuries to Quentin Nelson, injuries to Carson Wentz. The Titans caught him twice, both good games, but the Titans, outside of the Titans, this team's 6-3. But they stumbled out of the gate like we predicted. And even more than I predicted, I thought this team would turn it around. They've been almost unstoppable. They have the MVP candidate in Jonathan Taylor on the team who's playing out of his mind. Michael Pittman's playing better. I didn't think he was any good. You advocated for him a little bit more than I did. He's been playing well. And this defense, man, they got guys all over that are making plays. And, the Colts just played the Bills and beat the brakes off of them. It was no contest in Buffalo. I think that speaks volumes. So I'm going to put him at number 3. Number 2, these top 2 I don't think are disputable. These are the top 2 teams right now. The New England Patriots at 7-4. You could argue that they have the number 1 coach, the number 1 defense, and the number 1 special teams. That's hard to beat, especially when the quarterback's not turning the ball over. 4 of their last 5 games, they've held teams to under 14 points. Number 1 in point differential, number 1 in scoring defense. And Mac Jones, I have to agree with all the shows that I watch, all the shows that you watch. Nobody treats Mac Jones like a rookie. He straight up discarded that. He reads defenses, he calls the right play, he checks down. And, Nick Wright's a big advocate of this, but he doesn't, throw the ball down the field. What did Brady do for 20 years? Sure, it made everyone else mad. It made everyone mad because it's not electric football. But he said, if you're going to give me a 4-yard throw to the left, I'm going to throw 4 yards to the left. And then the next play, if you're going to give me a run to the right, I'm going to check to a run to the right. And it's as simple as that. And the Patriots do one thing that every single team wishes they could do: play the good teams well and destroy the bad teams. That's all you can ask. They never play down to their opponent. The Patriots are a scary team who look to be, with the Titans the way they are, a team that could be the 1 seed. You wouldn't want to bet against the Patriots. They were the 3rd seed last year in their division, so they have an easier schedule going into this year. The Patriots are on fire, and of course it's annoying they had a dynasty. I don't want to say they're back, but as long as Bill Belichick's there and Mac Jones seems to be the guy, Patriots have tank-like momentum, 5-game win streak, starting to win at home and away. You look at some of their losses. Cowboys took a late heroics. They lost to a field goal at the gun to Tampa. They play the Titans this coming week, don't they? Yeah, Titans don't want any of that smoke because the Titans are 8-3. If both these teams are 8-4, Patriots have the tiebreaker. Now we're talking Colts taking the division. I mean, there's so much from this, and I'm going in on a little bit because I know you may not have as a Patriots fan. Anyone who looks in the mirror and doesn't have the Patriots as the second, you could argue first, but you got to give that to the Cardinals. They just beat San Francisco and Seattle with Colt McCoy. They're 2-3 with Colt McCoy. They're going into a bye week at 9-3. They're going to come. Zach Ertz, dear God, he's just killing over there. They're going to get Kyler. Connor and Edmonds have been fantastic. You add Ertz to AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk's getting some work, Rondale Moore. Cliff Kingsbury is so far and ahead coach of the year right now. It's not even close. This team is 3-0 in division. They gave the Rams one of their losses. It's unfortunate that both their losses are to NFC teams, but this team looks primed and poised to make a deep run in the playoffs, and it could be heading all through Phoenix. I can't believe I did never think that I would have a team at 3 in my rankings that wouldn't even make your list. That's crazy to me. But
Okay,
that's my list.
Let me defend it. Now I understand. I think the listeners are probably hearing this, and I think if I had to guess, I think the listeners probably think you have the Colts too high. But you could make the case they're a top 10 team, and I probably should have had them on there. But here's why I don't. I think you're jumping ahead.
Their schedule.
Hear me out. Lost to the Seahawks, bad team. Lost to the Rams on my top 10. Lost to the Titans on my top 10. Beat the Dolphins, bad team. Lost to the Ravens on my top 10. Beat the Texans, bad team. Beat the Niners, bad team. Beat the Titans or lost to the Titans on my list here. Beat the Jets, bad team. Beat the Jags, bad team. Destroyed the Bills, who are on my list. That is their one credible win, Brad. I cannot look you in the eye and say they are a Super Bowl ready top 10 team with what I just told you. They lost to everybody that's on my list, literally everyone except Buffalo. Now, they beat the shit out of Buffalo. And I can't imagine they would continue to beat the shit out of Buffalo. Maybe they should have been 10 and Buffalo should be out. But I can't believe you have them at 3. I can't.
The reason why is I go back to, honestly, the credibility of, we've been right on a lot of teams both last year and this year. I think we do a good job on this pod.
Yeah.
And we knew, we were like, at full health, this team with a new quarterback is going to struggle in the first 5.
Yes.
Then on top of that, they lose Quentin Nelson for 3 games. Carson Wentz misses 2.5 games. And it's like, I almost take the first 5 games and I'm like, they were figuring it out. And 2 of the most important guys weren't playing. Now, granted, they have beat some bad teams. But again, that's part of like what I say is like, you got to beat the bad teams. And they didn't really have close games against them.
You do.
Yeah, the Titans did catch them twice, and that's tough. And I look at some of those games, it's like Titans, man, Colts had a lead on the Titans in the 4th quarter. Colts were up 16 on the Ravens, and then Lamar Jackson had his best game this season against the Colts in that massive comeback in primetime. And it's like, I'm not excusing those because they played well for part of the game. They did lose. But I just look at teams with momentum, and I'm like, the Colts have played 11 games. We both said the first 5 are brutal and they're figuring it out. So if we remove those, in those 6 games, they've won 5 of them. And it's like, I think Jonathan Taylor's emergence in the MVP candidate also has me giving them. And also, I had them at 7 before the Buffalo game. So it's not like I'm jumping.
I know you did. No, you definitely did. And I told you to keep that energy. You did. I also told you to keep your energy this week, too. You remember who they got this week? Tampa.
Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of people listening are going to say, Jeff, the Colts should definitely be in your top 10. Brad, 3's too high. 7 or 8. Like, I think they're going to put us right in the middle. Most listeners, hopefully you guys comment on us or chat us up on a message or something. Let us know what you think about the list. But all these teams are good. I just really try and fluctuate on what happened last week and this and that. But in my pick'ems, I mean, Colts.
Let me finish out the Colts real quick. You ready for this? This is tough, dude.
It's not easy.
I'm predicting they don't make your top 10 to finish the year. That is my prediction. But here we go. Bucks at Colts. Colts at Texans. Patriots at Colts. 2 tough games, both at home. That's great for them. Colts at Cardinals. Raiders at Colts. Colts at Jags. I think at best case scenario, they're 3-3 through there. You probably have them maybe higher, maybe 4-2.
Yeah, I think
there's no way you have them at 5-1 though.
I have them at 3-3 is the floor for them. They're beating the Texans and Jags. The Raiders are falling apart, so I give them 3 wins there. They're going to win one of those other 3 against the Cardinals, Patriots, and Bucks. I think they get 1 there, and they beat the Raiders, Jags, Texans, which puts them at
4-2.
That would be 4-2, which they would end the season at 10-9. Or 10-7.
10-7. Yeah, 10-7.
17 games.
Okay.
10-7.
One more thing in closing, and I think you were right to put the Minnesota Vikings at 10. I think they deserve a 10 spot. You left Buffalo out though, correct?
I did. I mean, they've lost 2 of their last 3.
No, I'm not. I'm not arguing. I was probably jumping the gun on Buffalo just because when they win, they destroy people. But I want to point something out because I actually pointed this out on the pod several weeks back. I don't know if you remember One of the mailbag questions was, who has surprised you this season? I truthfully don't remember who you said, but do you remember who I said?
Cardinals, right?
Kirk Cousins.
Oh, gotcha.
Listen to Kirk Cousins' stat line this year. This is
The
bonkers.
team as a whole only has 6 turnovers.
2,700 yards. I would imagine that's in the top 10 of the league.
Top 5.
21 touchdowns, 2 picks. 21 touchdowns. That's 10-1, dog.
Their defense is terrible.
Anyone. Their defense is really bad. It's not nearly as good as you would expect it to be. The Packers were diming them all day deep.
When we talked about their one close loss to the Bengals at the gun and their one close loss to the Packers, or their one win to the Packers, those are 2 games where they scored over 30. One was a win, one was a loss, but like they got to score so many points.
It's arguably his best season ever.
Yeah, the reason man, I know this doesn't really have to do with the top 10, but that Sunday night game, I was so encouraged to see the Steelers offense, what they did. That was very encouraging because when we get our defensive starters back, you mentioned it, excuse me, about the Ravens. The Steelers still have 4 divisional games to go. The Ravens have 5. I think the Bengals have 3 and the Browns have 4. The Steelers play the Ravens twice, Bengals and Browns still once down the road. I know it might sound impossible, but we're a different team going into the Bengals than we were the first time. We beat the Browns once. And Lamar Jackson statistically has his worst games against the Steelers defense. He hasn't played good against them, I think, since he's come in the league. I would venture to say he has a losing record versus the Steelers. So the AFC North is so wide open. I know you shouldn't look ahead in these rankings, but it's so hard for me to put the Ravens and the Bengals would be the 2 teams that could make it this week. But they all still have to just beat the shit out of each other still. Like that division's so wide open. That's why I was really hoping the Bears could get it done, but they've lost 5 straight, so I didn't give a ton of credit to they did win with their backup, but the Bears are a tragedy. And I'm going to be there at Thanksgiving, be at the Lions-Bears game. Both playing their backup quarterbacks. I mean, I don't even know. If I'm in the stadium when the Lions get their first win, oh my Lord.
Wouldn't that be something?
It'd be ironic is what it would be.
It would be. Well, that's a wrap for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and your friends. I hope that you are enjoying the football season. I hope you're digging what we're doing, bringing you weekly pods, talking NFL football, and live shows on Sunday mornings. Hope you guys are digging that. If you guys have not jumped into a live show, truly, I think it's the place to be. Speaking of live shows, we got a live show Wednesday night, 8:00. It's our first ever weekday live show. We're going to do the Michigan-Ohio State game preview. Got Buckeye fans coming on. Got Michigan fans coming on. I think it's going to be a fun show. About an hour long. Join us tomorrow live, 8:00. Anything else you got to say, Brad?
No, nothing much. Just enjoy your Thanksgiving, guys. Not just the food, but make sure you tell the people that you're thankful for them. Shoot a text, make a phone call. Don't be afraid to reach out. And like Jeff said, man, the podcast, hope you guys are enjoying it. We'd love some feedback on if you're listening, and hope to see you on the live show tomorrow night. Got a big game this weekend. The game, arguably the biggest football game in college, biggest rivalry. So
Absolutely.
We're all excited.
Yep. You guys, we are thankful for you. And as always, we are out. Real talk.